So with Mr. B, there's another pattern game that I would highly recommend. This one's the 1, 2, 3 pattern game. You can also do ABC or Do, Re, Mi if you prefer not to count. I find the counting is probably the easiest because it comes most easily to us. So we would, for example, with Mr. B in the beginning, I'm going to get his attention. Nice, good job checking in. So in the beginning, we would go and you'd start off by just simply doing number 3 and feed every time you again say the number. So I'm going to go 3 and then feed. And again, 3 and feed. So what I'm building up is value in the number 3. So again, feed. So 3, yes. You can also mark it with that yes if you'd like, but if you're finding it's too many things to remember, just simply think about the number, the third one, and then you're going to feed every time you say it. So 3, 3, 3. So now we're going to try and start counting from, again, number 1 all the way to that third number. And we're going to feed on the third one. So we're going to go, he's like, lady, I swear you dropped a crumb, and I may have. So I'm going to go, once he finds the crumb, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and feed. 1, 2, 3, and feed. And again, 1, 2, 3, and feed. So the reason behind this pattern game is it starts to build up value on the number at the third set. And then what you're doing is eventually in the beginning you do the stationary, then you might add some movement. So you could go 1, 2, 3, and feed. And again, we get his attention on the third number. 1, 2, 3, and we feed. This can be helpful for a lot of students for loose leash walking, but also especially for dogs that get overwhelmed or flustered. So again, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and feed. Obviously right now he's very attentive, there's nothing too spooky going on, and we're creating value in this game before we throw in something hard or difficult or over arousing. So if let's say Mr. B right now is really honing in very nicely, what I would end up doing is I'm going to, on purpose, try to get him distracted in the environment by maybe tossing a little snack. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, yes, and feed for that lovely response on 3. This is a really helpful skill for a lot of dogs that sometimes also get distracted by the environment or have some good prey drive. And what you're building up is the ability for, on number 3, it equals come get a paycheck. So for a lot of dogs, as they start to get overwhelmed, this starts to create such nice association that eventually they start to hone in every time they hear you start counting. So again, I'm going to 1, 2, 3, and feed on that response. So this can be really helpful for down the road with distractions, or if he's getting overexcited, it might bring him back into that thinking brain versus the excitement or overwhelmed brain. So again, we're going to meander, and I might just let him kind of get a little distracted. 1, 2, 3, and feed. And if he's very attentive to you in the beginning and very focused, keep feeding for all the good. So we might go 1, 2, 3, and feed. This can also help with sometimes building up those recall associations down the road as well. So again, we'd go 1, 2, 3, and feed. So the benefit again is you would send your pup away, and then maybe they might get distracted by a noise or a creature, and then you'd be able to start counting and see if you can get them to respond back when you start counting. So again, we're going to just send him away because he did a really great job checking in instantly. So we're going to send him off to get distracted. Maybe the environment's exciting. 1, 2, 3. Yes, and we feed on the number 3 again. Great job. So the pattern games, I know there are a few videos that I sent along in the resources already, but this is, again, Mr. B just working it a little bit here. He's doing some really nice little check-ins. So obviously throughout the practice, I'm going to also be just feeding him for things I want to capture and reinforce. So if there's moments where he's soft and he's checking in and he's responding to just simple tasks, I want to make sure that we're feeding for those moments. If every time we're working, it's always the hardest setup or the hardest environment, we may be telling him that, sorry, buddy, it's always going to be really hard and maybe you won't be able to do it and then it's not going to be worth it. So try to always think about working him, again, under threshold or within his comfort range for starters. So the 1, 2, 3 pattern game would be something that I would always start off, just like with the other pattern games, in your home front or your yard, or even that little fenced in zone that you guys had built for him. So that way you're, again, creating value. So we're going to go from that game and we're going to try a couple other little skills for Mr. B. One with sort of getting him excited and seeing if I can bring him back from that. Oh my goodness, chewing. Bring him back from that excitement into another behavior. Oh my goodness, good job chewing it the second time, sir. But he's doing a real nice job.